know about you, but I am very serious when it comes to my CCW, my everyday carry, and all of that good stuff. I think that a lot of us are serious as well. It doesn't matter if I decide I'm going to carry my Beretta, if I'm going to carry my 1911, if I'm going to carry a Smith & Wesson. But one thing that I would never carry, it would be the Sig Sauer, the P320. Now, I'm just going to keep it real with you guys. I really do believe that gun tubers are significantly a part of the pushing of this weapon, of how many people use it and how big it has become. And there's so many striker fired handguns on the market. I don't think that the P320 is significantly more accurate than any other handgun on the market, but a lot of folks in the past few years have bought them. And over the last half a decade, the military has, I think all the branches, the major branches, have adopted the military version of the P320, the M18, as the main sidearm for duty pistols and for those that rate a weapon when we go to war, which we're not at war right now. More on that here in a second. So it's really hard for me to imagine a case of where and why this could occur when we have so much evidence on the market of how dangerous these weapons are. I don't particularly believe in the banning of handguns or weapons by the government. If the ATF tries to classify a weapon a certain way, like they want to say an AR is a pistol because of barrel length, or they want us to classify suppressors a certain way, I'm not the biggest fan of that. I think that that should come through an act of Congress. I don't think it should come from an agency. I think the market should control usefulness of different weapons. Here's the case of one of those. SIG should be outed. They should be completely shamed of themselves. An Air Force unit suspends the use of the Sig Sauer M18 pistol after the shooting death of an airman. Apparently, a duty sergeant was getting off of duty. He took his actual weapon off of the duty belt. He set it on the desk, still in its holster. So imagine it's in like a duty belt that they wear in the military. You can detach the holster itself, get ready to hand it off to someone else. And when he set it on the desk, it fired and shot him in the chest and he died. And I think that that is pretty disgusting that that happened. And I'm not sure why this is something that is not bigger when it comes to being banned and not being used in different cases all over the place. I really think it's an issue. The Army has already said, now this is after an FBI report came out just literally earlier this month, the Army still intends to use the SIG P320, the M18, their version, will remain unchanged after the FBI report. Now, some people don't trust the FBI. Hey, take them with a grain of salt, but they came out with an FBI report and they specifically highlighted how the M17 and the M18, or the civilian versions, the P320, do have uncommanded discharges. They're not being commanded by a finger to be discharged from the weapon. This is in a ballistic research facility report that came out from the FBI. And the Army is not taking any action after this report came out. The Marine Corps is not taking any action after this report came out. And literally, this report drops on July 17th or July 16th. And within days, this incident happens. There are just so many agencies who are taking this seriously. We got folks like ICE, or Department of Homeland Security, are suspending use of this. We have other government agencies suspending the use of the Sig Sauer M18, which is a version of the P320. They have decided, after getting this report from the FBI, they're not going to be using it. We have folks, if you go to firing ranges, the local range I go to, you're not allowed to bring a P320 in there to fire. Me personally, if I own one, which I don't, it would just be put in my safe to never be used again. And if I did use it again, it would literally only be loaded on the firing line while pointing down range, and that would be it. This is just a crazy case of what's going on. One thing I will say is that the 4 safety rules, I did a video on that, and you guys should definitely check that out, because on that I talk about the 4 safety rules. Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Never point a weapon to anything you do not intend to shoot. Keep the weapon on safe until you're ready to fire. Keep your finger off the trigger until you intend to fire, etc., etc., etc. If this report is accurate, it is completely disgusting that SIG absolutely has issues with these weapons, but also if the report is accurate and he did remove the duty belt as such, then you have to make sure that you treat these weapons as if they were loaded. So if he took it off and he pointed the barrel towards himself, that's unfortunate. Rest in peace. And I hope that that is not the case. But another example of why you should really take those safety rules seriously. It's something you need to think about. The Marine Corps is where I learned that stuff. In the Marine Corps, for the first time in 35 years, changed their handgun, their official handgun, for the 9mm, and they changed it to what? The M18. This happened in 2020. So for 5 years, they've been doing this. By fiscal year 2022, they projected that everyone that uses this for a duty pistol is going to, this is going to be the weapon of choice. They liked it mainly because of the trigger. They liked it a lot in differentiation from the M9. Maybe they go back to the M9. I don't know, but all I know is that this is very concerning overall. So the Air Force, so far, from what I see, is the only branch that suspended the use of the M18. Air Force Global Command has paused the use of the M18 modular handgun effective July 21st, 2025 until further notice, says the Air Force spokesman Charles Moose Hoffman. And I think it's unfortunate that so far they're the only ones suspending that use case of this weapon. I think that we should not be waiting for the other branches to see an IG report. This is going to be investigated by the Inspector General. I don't know if it's going to be the DOD level or it's going to be at the Air Force level, but someone's going to review what happened in this case. It should not be the case that we are waiting around for anything that goes beyond using this, suspending this immediately. Cajun Gunsmith is where I like to get my weapons serviced, and they're not sponsoring this video, but I did get a comment from them because I wanted to know, what do you think about from the perspective of a gunsmith, this weapon still being used? And just like, what do you think? Like, should it be an official ban? Should it be something similar to that? Like, what do we think about that overall? And so I talked to Brian over at Cajun Gunsmith, and I quote, he says, it was a foreseeable incident. And so that he believes that the government should consider to step in and ban the sale of that specific weapon, recall them and buy them back for now. Should issue a recall as well, as what they came over at Cajun Gunsmith. This is what you would say. I like small government, and what Cajun Gunsmith is saying, I could agree with that, is because, if a specific weapon is showing propensity to bring harm to people, then we're not banning a classification of weapons. We're not banning all striker fire or handguns. We are talking about a specific weapon that may be dangerous on the market. And I think along with Sig making a recall, that maybe as well as the government offering buyback programs for this, I don't know. But me personally, they're probably going to get sued by the family. This family can't sue the government. So I think that this is like the only recourse that they have. But comment down below, what do you think about the P320? What do you think about this whole use case? Is it still something you're going to use for your CCW and you're still going to use in your everyday carry? I'm not going to buy it, even if it gets, and the prices are probably going to drop like crazy on this weapon on the secondary market, but it's not going to be for me. First time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.